Well, hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. Uh, as you can see by the ticker on the bottom, I shaved. I got tar in my hair from work. They were pouring tar on Sunday. It was 100 degrees. The tar was liquid. I was on the floor below, and it was dripping through where we were running pipes. So I got like an idiot. I look up, and I got tar in my hair. So I had to shave it off. Good thing I had the beard on because it would have burnt my skin. Tar, liquid tar is hot. So there you go. So we had to go work someplace else. But man, I, the smell was driving me crazy of the tar. How's it going? How's it going, everybody? I'm going to filibuster as I normally do for a minute or two. So this is X-Men 100. Welcome to Sunday Comics. Yeah, the light's bright on my big moon head right now. The beard will come back. The beard will come back. Plus, it's good like once a year to get rid of all your hair, start all over again. And I had to shave last July because of the neck brace. So I guess once a year will be my new tradition. So Ben Sabar, voice actor, says X-Men in space. Torchbearer, how you doing? How you doing? Love that cover, The Thug. Those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Steve over here, Torchbearer Studios, has a comic called Thug on the way. I don't know if you get a crowdfund or whatever, but when you're willing to do it, I'll do my best to help you promote. You are John. John has a beard. Yep, that I'm John's evil brother, Maurice. Hello, John. Hello, greetings, chat. How you doing, Dave? Dave, I was just thinking about you. What was I thinking? Something you posted something. Safeguard. I think I was thinking about the Safeguard. What a great name for a team. What a great name for a team. Safeguard, and it's right there. And coming up with names for superheroes is pretty easy for me. I have a major character that he's going to get a cameo in Patriarch #1, and he's one of my friends' characters that literally he's been playing for 20 years, and his character is it doesn't have a superhero name. He's Richard Dante. He has a couple of aliases, Milton Paradise and things like that, but he doesn't have a superhero name. But I gave him a superhero name, and I kept it a secret from Jimmy for a long time. So, and then I'm glad I did because I changed it. I came up with a better name. I think that suits his character a lot better. I'm going to keep it a secret until Patriarch #1 comes out. But 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 I was thinking about superhero names. I find it pretty easy to come up with superhero names. But and the way I find it easy because I come up with the name first and then I come up with the character. It's so it's not like I come up with a superhero concept and then struggle to come up with the name. No, I come up with a name, like a name just pops out of nowhere, or I read something, or I see a word someplace. I'm like, that would be a cool superhero, and then I design the superhero. For the most part, unless I'm rolling randomly when I play my role playing game, then it's a chore to come up with a name for a guy with like random powers. But a team, oh my god, a team is so tough to come up with a name for a superhero team. But Safeguard, oh wow, Dave, that is just brilliant, and it's so obvious now that you think about it. So good for you, good for you. I can't wait for that comic. We got Marcus Kellegrew in the chat. Marcus and I were talking every Friday. I try not to be a pest. I try not to be. I'm not saying I succeed, but I'm saying I try. But every Friday, I reach out to people that I'm working with and see how the progress is going. Let them know that I'm still interested. Is there any problems so I can adjust my schedule? Like, there's a bunch of guys like Marcus, Luke Stone, Ron Mosicki, DC Miller. They're all working, and Fabrizio Aiello, they're all working on projects on their pace. I told them whenever it's done, it's done. But I still like to reach out just to see, like, you know, did you change your mind? How is everything going? But Marcus, we we talked about a page. I gave him it was a 9-panel story, and originally I envisioned it on one page, but it could be two. It's 2 pages, really. It needs to be 2 pages so you can see the art. So I gave it to Marcus, and it's a 2-page public eye story. So, and then I saw that Pete Samedi is taking submissions for. It came out on a Wednesday for Alterna Comics, and I've always wanted to be in Alterna Comics. And I always wanted to be that glorious newsprint. I like the company. At one point, it was the best comic book company in the world, if you ask me. With, T. Burton Throttle, Horace H. Hoover, Wolf and Batsy, the Blood Realm. It was the best comic book company. So I wanted to get in. I actually pitched Heroic Tales to it, and Pete said no. And I'm glad he didn't. It would have been difficult to keep a pace. But anyway, this 2-page story I think would be perfect to submit. So we have till October 1st. So that's I asked Marcus if we could do that. So let's see. So it will be the first published public eye story, but it's set later. So the first public eye story will be published out of chronological order. I saw that in Marvel Rivals they have a character named Phoenix, as it should be. In the comics, she's always called Jean Grey in and out of combat. Yes. Oh God, Dave Brink and I we are brothers from another mother. When it comes to superhero opinions, asking Dave Brink his opinion is the same as asking. Well, if I'll say this a better way. Asking what Dave Brink's opinion is the same as asking what my opinion is, because we seem to be on. I can't stand when they call her Jean Grey. She's Marvel Girl, or she's Phoenix. What's the other one? The Rachel Summers. She's Marvel Girl now, right? What's her official name? That's why Miles Morales doesn't work, because when you say Spider-Man, you don't think of Miles Morales. But yes, Dave Brink is absolutely right. When it comes to superhero comics, hey, James, did you hear? James is the one who ran the character that I was just talking about. Did you hear what I said? I sent you a text message. Oh, okay, you got my message. So Jimmy is my buddy here. He lives 10 minutes away, and he's the one that role played the character that I'm going to introduce in Patriarch number 1. And I told him what the name is going to be. Pete is the man. Hope you all having a blessed Sunday. Oh, good. Got my blessing. I kind of need a blessing these days. Everybody's saying hello to each other. It will be fun. Marcus. Yeah, Mark. It's so good. Did I go to see the Fantastic Four yet? No, I'm probably going to go see it next Sunday. I don't like to go opening weekend in movies. It's people with telephones. How old-fashioned. Cell phones and talking and crowd. Plus I didn't want to go in case the movie was just terrible. It's expensive to go to the movie. Me and my wife, we make a big deal of it. We go to the movie. We get popcorn. That's geez, $40 right there. Two movie tickets, maybe even more, $50, $60 these days. And then we go out to dinner. So we weren't going to do that if the movie sucked. So people, I'm hearing Superman was more divisive. Everybody either loved it or hated it. There's no people like, that. Fantastic Four, I'm hearing very subdued. It wasn't bad. I expected worse. It wasn't bad. So I'll go see it. As long as it's not preaching to me. I don't want to deal with that. Everybody's saying hello. Kitty Pryde is also not a superhero. She is if she goes by Shadowcat. Call her Shadowcat. You know what I mean? But Kitty Pryde is a girl you have a crush on in junior high school. Shadowcat is a superhero. And Emma Frost. Emma Frost is another one. I don't like. Luke Cage always bothered. Power Man is a generic name, and Luke Cage is a cool name, but come up with it. What's funny is in my role playing games, I miss this guy. Back in Albuquerque, I had a buddy named James Faust. He was a cool guy. Jason Faust. Why did I say James? Because I'm thinking of Jimmy. Jason Faust. He was just a cool guy. Just a very interesting, very logical, uh, borderline like autistic, like just very smart. He always had a smile on his face. Whatever he said to him, he just was amused by it. I really miss him. I got to look him up. But anyway, he made up a character, and it was Max Watt. Max Watt. He didn't want a superhero name. You know, he was a fedora trench coat guy, Max Watt. You know, I don't know. So, but I'm not opposed to a nameless, like a code nameless superhero, but it you know, the whole point. But it does get on my nerves after a while, especially when you have a cool name like Phoenix. I wasn't going to see Superman, but John took me. So okay, I really liked it. The thing about Superman is, first off, lower your expectations. Now you're going to go in saying I loved it, and you're going to be disappointed. Lower your expectations, whatever your expectations are. But it's the J.M. DeMatteis, Keith Giffen era Justice League, the blah ha ha Justice League. It's the most comic book movie. There's a lot of flaws in it, but it's the first Superman movie since the Christopher Reeve Superman movie that understood that Superman is a property for children. You know, it's a property for children. And if you don't make, that's why the Snyder films, to me, didn't work. Batman is a character that sells underoos to put on lunchboxes. You know what I mean? Catering superhero movies to 40-year-old men just keeps comic book sales going down. So this Superman movie was a movie that catered to children. That's why there's Crypto. Yes, it's very flawed. It's very flawed. But even the original Christopher Reeve, the Donner film, as they call it, that was very flawed too, in my opinion. Yes, correct. Shadowcat was her code name. Emma Frost doesn't really have ice powers, does she? No, that's her last name. That's like saying Kurt Wagner doesn't have Wagner powers. No, she's the White Queen. She has mental powers, and for some reason she can turn into diamonds. Yang Yao Zhao, how you doing, buddy? How's everything? Haven't seen you in a while. Everything okay? I know you're doing home repairs. Shadowcat was called Ariel in one of the Marvel Universe books. The creators seem insecure about what her name should be. Yeah, her original code name was Ariel. No, her original code name was Sprite. Then it was Ariel, and then it became Shadowcat. What happened to the beard? As I was saying, I got tar dripped on me. You know, it dripped on my head, and then I look up, what's dripping on me? You know, so I had to shave it off. You know, there's a reason why tar and feathered was a horrible thing to do to people. It's bad. So I just figured just shave it all off. It'll grow back. The turning into diamond stuff was a stupid Grant Morrison invention. You know what the X-Men need? More powers. Absolutely agree with you. The X-Men are getting too powerful. There's too many of them. I know there's supposed to be a school of mutants, and the whole Grant Morrison era, where all of a sudden there was a billion X-Men, it diluted the X-Men. You know, should be safe and rare. You know what I mean? There shouldn't be a lot of them. Mutants, now it just seems like everybody and their brother is a mutant. It's getting to the point where like there's more mutants than anything else. Tone it down. It's like Anne Rice did with vampires. There got to be so many vampires that in Queen of the Damned they killed them all. There was only like 13 vampires left on the earth. And then in the later novels, there was a billion vampires again. There were so many vampires that some of them didn't even know who Lestat was. You know, they're doing the same thing. Just like Doctor Who. They got rid of all the Daleks, and now there's a billion Daleks again. Keep it down. I agree with you. They're too powerful, and there's too many of them. And they behave really bad. I completely agree that that the X-Men should be persecuted. You know why? Check out their behavior. So, isn't that the premise that mutants will eventually replace humanity? Yeah. and I'll keep my politics to myself right now. I liked when they introduced new mutants, but they had to bring in something new to the table. We didn't need third Summers brother, especially. Yep, yep, yep. I totally agree. I totally agree. Has the weather been super hot in New York too? Yes. Actually, last week was pretty good. Last week was pretty cool, except for Friday. And so Friday, it was really, really, really hot. We were supposed to work on the roof, but we didn't because it was just so hot. Plus, they were loading steel, hence they were pouring tar and everything. So we couldn't work on the roof for 2 reasons. Then I get home, I'm pulling in the driveway, and oh my God, the sky opened up. It was like a storm, a sudden flash storm. It was like Thor and Storm just had a fight. Boom, lightning. So I opened up my car door. I went to my trunk to get my backpack out, and by the time I got my backpack out of the car to my front porch, I was soaking. It was soaking, and we needed it. It seemed to clear out everything. Werewolves often have high reproduction infection rate. Makes me wonder why everyone isn't aware of. Werewolves and vampires I have a problem with in fiction. I really like the way Anne Rice does a vampire. Like if you get bit by a vampire, odds are you die. Once in a while there's they'll have humans that the vampires keep alive, so they just take enough blood to survive. But for the most part, if you get bit by a vampire, you die. They suck out all your blood. But a vampire could choose not to suck out all your blood, keep you alive and weak and whatever. But to make a vampire in Anne Rice, the vampire has to give his or her blood back, drain that person, and then refill it with blood. Like it's a process, and it's taxing on the vampire. It takes effort. So creating a vampire is a choice that the vampire makes, and it's not an easy choice. I really, really, really like that. I'm working on 2 vampire stories, and there's a couple of ways to make vampires, but that's the most common way to make vampires is an exchange of blood like that, kind of like a mockery of communion. Werewolves, it to me, it's like you get bit by a werewolf, you turn into a werewolf. Well, a werewolf kills. You know what I mean? Like, say, like 1,000 werewolf attacks. Only one guy. The only reason why one guy survives is like you chased off the vampire, and then you get like infected by the vampire bacteria, germs, virus, whatever. Then you may turn into a vampire. You know what I mean? Like you said, it has to be. I mean, a werewolf. It has to be rare. Otherwise, like you said, everybody becomes a werewolf after a while. You know what I mean? But the werewolf kills. A werewolf doesn't. If a werewolf is attacking, it's killing, and unless it gets chased off or defeated, the werewolf kills. That's the way I think about that for werewolves. Go to the Genuine Comics website. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Go to the Genuine Comics website. Get Perfect 10 and get all 6 issues and read them all in order. It's so good. It's so good. So good. Stippling Born. I have a vampire story where Dracula is a baseball fan. I have a vampire story where there's no Dracula. There's no Dracula. Dracula is like too used. Maybe there is a Dracula. I just don't talk about him. And I have like a whole history of vampires in my head and werewolves and stuff like that. The first vampire. I like doing stuff like that, but I haven't even considered Dracula. Okay, so here's another thing I'm gonna do. Since I got people here, I'm gonna add this to my share screen. And okay. So here is Kickstarter. So I'm gonna activate my Kickstarter right now. So this is going to be, as of right now, you can't get Heroic Tales 2. Luke has to update the Fund My Comic page to make it in demand. I'm sure he's doing church stuff right now. So I'm going to hit this and do. And let's see if this works. Congratulations, my project is live. So cool. So there we go. Heroic Tales is now live on Kickstarter. We got a month. Maybe I don't know. Is this a shareable link? Cool. Do that. I'll put this into the chat. Oops. There we go. So here it is. Kickstarter projects, Heroic Tales comic book number 2. There you go. So now it is live on Kickstarter. I'll start tweeting that out today. But if, for whatever reason, if you don't like Fund My Comic, if you trust Kickstarter better, you can back it here. I will have it in demand on Fund My Comic as soon as Luke Stone updates it. He is the one that has to update it, not me. Just call him Master Vampire. Does he turn into a baseball bat? That's pretty clever. So there you go. If you're interested in Kickstarter for Heroic Tales, you can back it there. There's no difference. I learned that lesson the hard way. There's no difference. Everything is exactly the same. Whatever you could have gotten on Fund My Comic, you could get on Kickstarter. When you have something on each site, people aren't going to pay shipping 3 times to get, you know what I mean? So I kind of shot myself in the foot for my first campaign. So let's talk about X-Men. Now we got a bunch of people here. We've been talking for, 23 minutes. I can talk, huh? I can talk. So let's look at the X-Men. Let's take a sip of coffee. So here we got X-Men 100, 25 cents. X-Men versus X-Men in a battle to the death, betrayed by Professor X. We got this. This is Dave Cockrum cover, right? This is a Dave Cockrum cover. Who is calling me? Okay. All right. So let's check this out. Last week we did 99, right? I didn't jump an issue, did I? So we got Cyclops, Storm, Banshee, Nightcrawler, Wolverine, Colossus, Children of the Atom, students of Professor Xavier, mutants, feared and hated by the world they were sworn to protect. These are the strangest heroes of them all. Now, my first X-Men comic, I was it 114 with the cover with the Beast and Phoenix pushing Charles Xavier in a wheelchair down the hallway. I think it's 114. That was my first X-Men comic. I bought that. We were going to one of my dad's co-workers. He was having a barbecue. We stopped at a 7-Eleven to either get cigarettes or something. I forget. And that was on the newsstand. My parents bought it for me. And it was like, I just read it in the car at the barbecue. You know, the guy had a pool. So we went swimming in the pool, played a lot, had a lot of fun at the pool. And then I just sat and reread it. I remember reading this up here. And I just fell in love with the names: Cyclops, Storm, Banshee, Nightcrawler, Wolverine, Colossus. The only word I didn't know at this point was Wolverine. I didn't know what a Wolverine was. You know, I forget if I asked somebody or what, but these names are so different than any other superhero name at the time. You know, Superman, Batman, the Human Torch. You know, Spider-Man. These were so unique. Like the X-Men had their own, you know, idiom. There was I just loved it from the beginning. Such cool superhero names, and I think this box is what cemented my philosophy of superhero names. That the superhero name has to be the focus of the character. You know, Cyclops is a little wonky. you know, because he has two eyes and everything like that. But Storm, perfectly descriptive. Banshee describes his powers. Nightcrawler, that's a great name for him. Wolverine, I mean, I've learned what a Wolverine was. And Colossus, these are perfect names, you know. And here we go. Let's look at the credits. Chris Claremont, author. Dave Cockrum, artist. Annette K. letterer. Bonnie W., colorist, and Marv Wolfman, editor. Annette K. and Bonnie W. are names I'm not really that familiar with. Okay, so from this point forward, I'm going to talk about the page. Go to the comments, page, comments. That's where we that's how we'll do it. So I got to get a little bit more light. I can't look at the words. I don't care how bright my face is. We're not looking at my face. All right, so in a few moments, X-Men will be killing X-Men. And nothing will stop my ultimate goal of destruction of mutant kind. Now, this is like the first real story of like persecution and hatred of humans. That's fine. You know what I mean? Like it's bound to happen, and it makes sense. And to be honest, in a comic about mutants, I think it would be a strange absence not to have that kind of story. But you know, it's not trite yet. Why? Because this is really the first time that I'm seeing it as the new X-Men. So it kind of makes sense. I'm also looking. I can't help but think that I skipped number 99. I'm just looking what I did for last. Yeah, I did. I skipped 99. All right, we'll go back out of order. That drives me crazy. Okay, so we'll do an X-Men 100. Next week we'll do X-Men 99. Oh God, that drives me nuts. All right, so because I was like, why are the X-Men? I don't remember the X-Men. Oh God, I'm so annoyed. So we got I won. In a few moments, X-Men will be killing X-Men, and when this battle is done, no power on Earth will be able to stop the extermination of mutant kind. Greater love hath no X-Men. And this is 1976. Right, so let's look at the chat. I'm so mad. I skipped 99. That's what I get for going by memory. I'm so mad. Professor X is not only a brainwasher, but he can stand. Oh, he's only, but he could stand. Yeah, something's going on here. One of the first X-Men comics I read was where they caught by Arcane to play silly games. Oh yeah. That was to me the top. You know, X-Men. You know, up to 150. You know, the new X-Men from up to X-Men 150 was the perfect. Yeah, thank God we get new Byrne X-Men in 2026. So let me address that. So John Byrne, the artist, the one who, you know, no disrespect to Dave Cockrum, but John Byrne, who took over the X-Men soon as the artist, he loved the X-Men. He loved doing it, and I think he just left because he wanted to write and create and, you know, everything. So he left and went on so many other great titles. Fantastic Four, Alpha Flight, Namor, She-Hulk, you know, Next Men. And when he retired from comics, he started just making fan fiction of X-Men. So I don't know where it starts, but I think it begins where he left. So he's just, anything that wasn't drawn by him, he's just ignoring, and he did fan fiction. So I don't know how many issues he did, like 30, 40 issues, but just on his website, he just penciled it, wrote it, and pretended nobody else, like pretended he never left the X-Men, the stories that he wanted to tell. And the thing is, he didn't charge anybody for it. So it was fan fiction, but it happened to be done by a pro. And it happened to be a pro who, to me, defined the X-Men look, the new X-Men's look. So I heard Marvel offered to buy it from him many times, and he said no. Well, for whatever reason, they must have, you know, I don't know why, but now they did. So now they're going to do 3 volumes, like 8 issues each in a collection, and they're going to get it inked and colored, and it's like an else when. I Stippling says we get new Byrne X-Men in 2026. It'll be the first new Marvel comic that I buy. It since 2020, like off the stands. I bought some Marvel comics to out of curiosity. My theory is that psychic powers are all connected. So Marvel Girls are stronger with telekinesis. She also has some telepathy, while Xavier is even more. Yeah, they say he has telekinesis. I don't know. I find it like when he has telekinesis, it's the exception rather than the rule. Can he do a crude blast if pushed into it? Yeah. I don't like it. If I was in charge, Xavier would not have any telekinetic powers. He would just be telepathy. There you go. Here's my Kickstarter. Annette Kowecki, I think. Hey, Michael Hart, love the Hedgehog. He did 32 issues. Is the story done? You don't want it inked? I would like to get it inked by Terry Yost. Is Terry Yost still alive? Does Xavier has telekinesis? He does, but he shouldn't. It's like when he's written by a writer who forgets what his powers should be. Just like with Scarlet Witch, they show her shooting blasts. She shouldn't be shooting blasts. Listening while driving. I just dropped off my son at church. Okay. How you doing? Good to see you. The Byrne Elseworld story will be collected in 3 hardcover volumes. No single issues. Yep. And everybody says hello. Cool. So let's turn the page. I'm so mad that I skipped 99. Once they had all been friends. You got one heck of a nerve, Banshee. Where does a 2-bit crook like you get himself calling himself an X-Men? Heads up, midget. I always like when they call Wolverine a midget. He throws ice right into Wolverine's face. Keep in mind, like 2 issues ago was the first time it was revealed that we don't even know his name is Logan yet. Two issues ago, we saw him without a mask for the first time. Yeah, we don't know what his name is. They just call him Wolverine. Kill the imposters, my X-Men. Kill them all! Xavier's just screaming and yelling. I love this storm. Great. This is Dave Cockrum. If you ask me, this is Dave Cockrum, like aping Neil Adams as much as he can. Just what a great splash page. We got the old Cyclops visor. I'm so mad that I skipped 99. And yes, Terry Austin is still alive. I would love if Terry Austin inked it. So now we got this silly ad. This guy. Every time I see this guy's face, I just whack. Oh God. I'm sure he's a nice gentleman, but these teeth are too proportionate, like too large for this man's face, right? It looks like he's wearing fake teeth, and I hate him. I hate him. So I like how these X-Men are squaring off. We got Beast versus Nightcrawler. Who do you think would win? Beast versus Nightcrawler. That's a good fight. That's a good fight. I thought you've gone all hairy and joined the adventures. You anthropomorphic elf. The bashful Beast has never been hirsute. And as for the rest, they threw you out. Sorry, my friend, but since you will not come to me, the Beast and his dexterous digits must surely come to you. This is the eloquacious Beast. Keep in mind, my first X-Men comic was 114. Beast was already blue and hairy, and I was already collecting the Avengers for a year or two before that. So I didn't know that this Beast and the blue furry Beast were the same person. Matter of fact, I don't think I even knew about this character. I'm trying to remember when I first found. Like, I didn't know the old X-Men is the point that I'm trying to make. I didn't know the old X-Men because I started with 114. Back then, back issues were, I didn't know that you could go and get back issues. So if it wasn't on a spinner rack, you didn't get it. So I really didn't know anything about the old X-Men. And it just shows you, like, everybody's like, oh, all of these continuous long format stories are a barrier to entry. Well, for most of comic book history, people just picked them up and started reading them. It was the editor's job to make sure that the story was accessible to new people. But look at these cool scenes. I don't do this when I read normally, but I do this when I talk about this on Sunday Comic. I pay a lot of attention to the backgrounds. Do you notice how the background's just yellow, just green? There's like a hint of background over here. There's no backgrounds over here. There's just so much, but each page is just filled with so much action stuff that you don't like. This is such a good sheet. This is Marcus. I don't mind if you do this. Have the public eye punching somebody, and there's all this explosion lines, and it just blocks out some of the background for in some a panel or two. Don't bother me. Boom. Look at just look at these backgrounds. It's such cheats. There's really no backgrounds over here, but our brain is remembering that they're in. I mean, let's take a look over here. So we know that they're arriving over here on this platform. We see that they're in some sort of station over here, and then our mind is filling in the details. Really good, really good. We got the Beast. This is kind of difficult to see because the color scheme, but we got the Beast throwing Nightcrawler at Cyclops. What happened to your visor? You're the threat, and here's where you'll be eliminated. Nightcrawler, he took Blast head on. He's down. He ain't moving. Worry about yourself, fella. Another second, you'll be permanently on ice. Well, you ain't got that second, bub. So we got Wolverine fighting. The Angel, to me, has been like the most useless member of the X-Men. Cool costume, cool look, but is Angel is anybody's favorite? I mean, people like Archangel, but nobody. They like Angel. I like Angel, but nobody's like, yeah, Angel's my guy. I like Angel. So here he is. He grabs Wolverine and throws him at Colossus. Yeah. I heard it, but now get us out of here, Colossus. That winged yo-yo owes me a rematch. So Wolverine wants to deal with that. Colossus is freeing the debris. And here comes the fastball special. Execute now. What the? So is this the first appearance of the fastball special? I don't know, because I forgot to do 99. I skipped 99. I'm so mad. But I think this is the first fastball special. So Colossus throws Wolverine at Avenger, at Angel. I'm flustered because I'm mad at myself that I skipped 99. I'm so mad. Yes, the story isn't finished. So is Byrne going to finish it, or is it going to be another Last Galactus story? Hopefully Marvel throws Byrne some money to finish the story. Yes. I'll buy Elseworld for sure if it's printed. It'll be my first comic collected in decades. I still collect comics. Like I just got these. I just got Blood Realm from Alterna. These are the first comics that Pete Samedi printed at his home press. So I'm real curious to see how they look. I didn't take them out of the bag yet. And then it comes with this 45. Look at that. I might have I have a big gigantic monster story. I might see if I could get Robert Geronimo to do a variant cover. I really do like his art. I hope so. He stopped because he was tired of doing it. Yeah, well, he was doing it on his own terms, So I hope he finishes it. Happy Sunday, RJ Williams. RJ Williams just did a review of Heroic Tales. The things that he I agree with his review. He points out one thing, like the hunting. It seems to be the patriarch hunting the elk and the son skinning the elk. That seems to be the most controversial part of the patriarch story. People don't like it, but it's funny. City dwellers didn't like that. Country dwellers are like, oh yeah, and that's from when I lived in Albuquerque. They were literally like there was a bar that we would go to, and guys would come in with pickup trucks with elks and just carry the elk hanging up on a hook in the back of the bar, and that was their credit. For like a month, they would just drink while the bartender, he was also, or somebody in the bar was also a butcher. You know what I mean? And so you'd see it. That's just the way it is with the country folks. So I didn't think it was a big deal, but man, does that bother people. Man, does that bother people. So I'm saying hello. Hawkman could hand Angel's ass without breaking this. Yeah, Hawkman could crush Angel. Absolutely. Because Hawkman, this is like another weird rule I have, because Hawkman is a solo hero. Angel has never been a solo hero. Yes, Robert Geronimo does great art. He does. And he's very unique. Very unique. That's one of the things I like about him. So I love the Eagle ones from Space 1999. I'm still so mad that I skipped 99. All right, so look at this page. It just glows. So now we got Havoc blasting Colossus over here. You know, boom, cry Havoc. I know who you are, assassin. Such power. Never dreamt, were I human, that blast would have burnt me to a crisp. But even in my armored body, it has limits. By all that I hold dear, he's causing me pain, and I can't stand much more. Coffee. I stayed up way too late last night. So look at this. Colossus is getting blasted by this energy. His metallic hide is reflecting this energy. It's just so cool. I mean, this page just seems bright. Colossus is being heroic. You know, he's withstanding these blasts. Now, Cyclops has kinetic blast. When you get hit by Cyclops' beams, it's like being hit in the face with a wrecking ball. It's just pure kinetic energy. I'm not that familiar. Is Havoc's the same thing? Is Havoc, because the way it's drawn to me, it seems like a mix of just like electric energy and kinetic energy. Like, is there a difference? Are they the same? Is it kinetic, or is it generic energy? I don't know. So I'm asking because I don't know. So boom, Colossus just hits him. I love this panel. That is just such a, I mean, this is just, looking back at this as an adult, with the more critical eye, you could see how influential Neil Adams was to the X-Men, to the point, like, geez, 8 years prior he was on the comic, and now, like, this, they got Dave Cockrum, who's aping Neil Adams, and then John Byrne comes and apes Neil Adams, and I think, what was it, Paul Smith is probably the first artist to, because then they went back to Dave Cockrum, and then I think from Dave Cockrum they went to Paul Smith. Once they got to Paul Smith, it was like the first time that it wasn't really a Neil Adams influence. Paul Smith, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he was like a Neil Adams acolyte. He was really unique, and I love Paul Smith. I got no problems with Paul Smith. And then from Paul Smith, what do they go to? John Romita Jr., which is, but so it's like that Neil Adams look defined the X-Men for, I'm going to say, like 10 years, which is a long time. But look at this panel, so good. Look at that face. That is like, insert Neil Adams, insert Dave Cockrum, insert John Byrne. Boom. So now they're fighting. Jean Grey's power seemed much weaker than usual. I could deal with her easily, but I cannot bring myself to harm her. See, even in the comics, they're calling her Jean Grey. Marvel Girl. Liar is, what is she saying? What are the hours respect to give? The confidence is we should. I don't know you. I've never talked to you. I've never shown. It's a cheap shot, lady, and it won't work. How could it be? How could there be such hatred? Of course, they're imposters, so she's figuring it out. Beautiful move, Lorna. And then here we got Lorna. I always say Lorna Doone, but it's Lorna Dane. She's using the magnetic powers. That her special effects is they're green, and just blast her. Let's finish her. Legs pinned under the. I can't get free. No chance for escape. And then what happened? This panel is just. I mean, studying this panel, you can see it's Dave Cockrum, but like at a casual glance, you could say that's Neil Adams. You could see it's John Byrne. Just cool. Just cool. Marvel Girl, you're being attacked from behind. So I like that. She's called her Marvel Girl. Use the superhero names. So Oh yeah, I do those blast lines. Cool, cool. Looking forward to seeing it. Oh, Stippling Vaughn. Here's another guy that's doing a comic. And like I said to Stippling, take your time, do it at your own pace, because I have 4 issues of Heroic Tales that have to be told in order. Now, if there's a problem with Renzo, I could slip in and somebody and one of these people, like if Luke finishes the Sleeper Agent or Marcus finishes the Public Eye or whatever, I could slip in one story as long as the main overarching story is there. That's fine. But Stippling is doing the Printer's Devil, and he's showing on his channel page 1. He's inking it live while he's hanging out in the bar. It's really cool. So check that out. He usually does it right after this. I grew up taking part in pig slaughters in the mountains every fall. Yeah, city dwellers are horrified by the logistics of hunting. And I was too. Until I moved out to Albuquerque and saw the hunting. And now I work with the guys that hunt, like my old foreman that I worked with for years. He takes off work and goes deer hunting and goes up to, and he teaches his sons. I think he's got 3 boys. He teaches his 3 boys how to skin and field dress deer and stuff. He's one of these people that are just like, this is a skill that you're going to need to survive. He believes sooner rather than later you need, like, I could shoot a deer. And then what? I don't know what to do. It's a gross, disgusting, horrible, necessary skill, So I didn't think it was too graphic. I didn't think it was bad, but it's funny. You could see the city dwellers and the country dwellers really get divided over those pages. Angel is from a time where having one cool gimmick was enough. A man with wings. That's really cool. But as the comics progress, I think that Archangel is a logical evolution. Yeah, so did the Simonsons believe that. Yep. Angel got an upgrade from Apocalypse. My old boss moved here from LA. She was totally freaked out by people with deer hanging in their garages. See? Venison is healthy compared to ground beef. Yeah, I've never tried it. I would like to. I never tried it. I've had lamb. It's okay. Ground beef just tastes better. So now we got ads over here. Sugar mamas, sugar daddies, sugar babies. It's the Banshee. He's using his sonic powers to drive us away from Storm. Come on, Lorna. Let's get back to the others. These imposters barely held us this time. We'll come back and finish them. So is Banshee just screaming? This is just a pet peeve of mine. And it really makes no logical sense when you consider my philosophy of comic. And that's funny. RJ Williams brought this up when he reviewed Heroic Tales about talking during a fight. I like the way he explained it in his review. That RJ, could you send a link to your review to Marcus Kelligrew, and then Marcus could put it in the chat so people could click on it, check out what I'm talking about. But like, again, I'm going to this panel is also, like, we read a comic book in a Z pattern. Okay, we also read a panel in a Z pattern. This happens before this. It has to. So why? Because that's the way we read it. If everything was one instant, every word balloon would be on top of each other. So I read this, then I read this, then I read that, then I read this, then I read that, then I read that. That means that there's more than one instant of time in that panel. There's room to talk during a fight. So far be it from me to criticize Mike Baron. Mike Baron doesn't like talking in a fight. I agree. People don't talk unless they scream, "I'm gonna get you," you know what I mean? F you, you know what I mean? Like that's the extent of conversations in a fight. In real life, we're not in real life, and we don't have every moment. So this panel is weird. All panels in comic books are weird. There is time in this panel in a still image. So I was going to say my pet peeve is Banshee needs to scream to talk. So he shouldn't be talking when he's using his powers. Now, I was going to say, even though, and then I was going to say, yeah, but there's more than one nanosecond in a panel. So he has time to talk. However, I'm back to my original stance. He's flying. He has to scream in order to fly. So whenever Banshee's flying, if he's showing us flying, unless you see like the swoop, like he was on the ground and then he's flying, so you could say, okay, he talked before he screamed. But here, the swoop is like that, so he is never on the ground at this point. So he can't talk. That's just a pet peeve for me. That's the way I would do it if I was running the X-Men. Colossus, my leg. Don't be afraid, Storm. We'll have you free in a moment. So now they'll be on top of us in a moment. All chance to fight as a team. And where the blazes is Wolverine. It's all I'm over here, Irish, and I'm heading for the top man, Xavier. I'm burning on a short fuse, Chrome Dome. So you got 3 seconds to make with the answers, or else your threats do not impress me, Wolverine. Again, the background is just red. A kind of a cheat for Dave Cockrum, but look at all of this art. I'll forgive him all of a bad background because look at all of this. And what does he do? They color it red. Why? It's angry. It's heated. In fact, very little impresses me. One of my mind blasts has the power to shrivel you where you stand, but my fist shot contains all the power you deserve. So I love this. Wolverine is taken by surprise. He's shocked that Xavier's standing. Xavier punches him. On your feet, my friend. You want the satisfaction of knocking you down again. Nice punch, Pref. I'll give you that, but I ain't going down a second time. On the contrary, Wolverine, you're going down, but you won't be getting up ever again. Good girl, Jean. The arrogant fool hasn't a chance against your mental powers. Lord, my brain feels like it's burning. Can't only my instincts to guide me. Yeah, instincts, my senses. So now, this, as far as I know, this is the first. Again, I missed issue 99. That's driving me crazy. This is the first time they're mentioning Wolverine's senses. At this point, Wolverine was just crazy guy with knives, crazy knife guys. He hasn't been explored too much. So now they're saying his instincts. But I think, like, are they talking about like animal instincts, or are they just saying like anybody has instincts, trust your gut kind of thing? Okay. It won't be long now, Professor. Right there, lady. Only you got it backwards. Just couldn't see it to now. You see, folks, I'm like an animal. Oh, so they are talking about his out. So they are explaining his powers. I don't know from faces, but I know from sense, voices, feelings. And I also know Jean Grey. And lady, whatever you are, you ain't Jean Grey. Lenin's ghost. There isn't even time for a scream. Wolverine, you bloody homicidal maniac. What have you done? Computer, shift to camera 3 immediately. I must see what's happening. So Wolverine, we all know. Come on. We've been around the block. We all know. R.J. Williams. I'm not far from where I live. I got a guy not far from where I live got eaten by a grizzly bear while field dressing. Oh, I should show you. My brother, he went outside. There was a huge brown bear going through his garbage. So, all right, RJ, from that comment, I just assumed you were a city guy. So, I mean, if this guy down the block is field dressing an elk, then I guess you ain't a city guy. Sub to Stippling Vaughn's channel. I enjoy Stippling Vaughn's channel. He I think just Saturdays and Sundays he makes like a 20-minute video of him doing his art, talking about whatever he feels like talking about. I enjoy it. Matter of fact, I watch it right after this, and then I kind of eat breakfast watching. I had breakfast with Vaughn. I guess I don't follow Marcus on X. I thought I did. Oh. If you send it to me, I'll send it to Marcus. Send it to me. Okay. What happened? Where's my face? You see the scroll down here? I had tar drip on me at work. So I had to shave. I even shaved my eyebrows. I was looking up, what's happening? Like an idiot. Professor X used Chrome Dome before Disney Star Wars. Yep. In a comic book fights had real dialogue, it would just be a lot of what? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Yeah, come on. Come on. Wuss. Wuss. Could you imagine Superman going, come wuss? You know, pussy, wuss. That would be like an entire. But yes, comic books are weird. Comic books have time for dialogue. I just got home. Have a great day and God bless. Oh, so you're not watching anymore, or you're watching at home? RJ Williams channel. There you go. You can see the video there. You can see the review there. Also, good morning, chat and John. Thank you, Crenshaw. Thank you, Crenshaw. All right, so let's get back to boom. It's robots. It's robots. Done. I've met the enemy, bub, and they ain't us. How? How? By all that's holy, how could this be? My ex-Sentinels were the stroke of genius, the ultimate anti-mutant technology. They should have been unbeatable. So there were robots, there were Sentinels in X-Men form, which begs the question. He could replicate mental powers. You know, he could he replicated the wings from Angel. He replicated Havok. So now what else? He replicated ice powers. He replicated the super agility of the Beast. Man, these things are unbeatable. You know, how, like, we kind of forget how advanced the technology must be in these comics. Like, how much do they cost? How much resources did he use? You know, he replicated Cyclops' powers. Geez, these things are just super, super unbeatable. How? By all that's holy. So now we got a montage bringing us up to speed for people who forgot to read X-Men 99, how we got into the situation. I just love, like, that's a beautiful face, but that's not a 20-year-old, you know. Although last night I was watching I've been getting into old black and white actors and actresses, like old Hollywood Babylon kind of stories. And I was watching a total clickbait video on YouTube of Hollywood actresses like Ava Gardner and Clara Bow, and like their personal life, Tallulah Bankhead. You know, you see pictures of them at 18, 19 years old. It's just they have, like, they look like 40-year-old women today, like gorgeous 40-year-old women. You know what I mean? Like, I see a 19-year-old girl today, they look like a baby, you know? So yeah, okay, I'll buy it. I retract my statement. See, we get everything. They're all caught and held. So he could nullify X-Men powers. He could replicate X-Men powers. Like, this guy should be a bigger threat, in my opinion. Oh, he's got the Vanisher over here. And the page break ruins the double page spread. Yes, it does. It does. It does. That's why I'm, like, spreading it out. But yes, it does. Ruins. Love the reads. Good morning, fellas. Good morning, Joe. Love the beard. Love the beard. I'll be back up to the beard. My wife hates this, by the way. My wife hates this. Guys at work Monday are gonna be like, "Who is this? Who's this?" Because, you know, I only met the guys like last week. That is a terrible editorial choice. That page break is a colossus crack. Yep, I agree. I know it's all comics, not to be taken seriously, but it bugged me when a character turned out to be a robot no one even noticed. As a story twist surprise, the world is changing technology. That is world-changing technology. Yes. The only reason they knew was because Wolverine had superior senses. Like, this is the first time I think that they brought up Wolverine's superior senses. So yeah, the ability to make these robots, and they casually do it. I'll buy that Dr. Doom does it. You know, Dr. Doom has a sorcery and, you know, magic science. I'll buy that the Wakandans can do it. But now this is the United States government. Granted, this guy's a rogue lunatic, but, like, you know, And then they forget about it. Let's go to the next page. We got this advertisement over here. Now, all titles mailed flat, which begs the question: what did they? How did they ship them before they rolled them flat? Like, did they roll them in a tube? You know, there's no reason to miss your favorite Marvel mags. So let's look at the name, Mrs. Gail Daly, Dean Mullaney. Oh, cool. I love this. So Dean Mullaney, why am I excited about Dean Mullaney? He married Kate Ironwood, and together they formed Eclipse Comics. Eclipse Comics was a super important comic book company. It's one of the most important comic book companies that I'm sure people in this crowd, I know Marcus knows Eclipse Comics, but they were the company that created creator-owned rights, meaning like if you made like Scout and you published Scout, you still owned it. Eclipse just retained the rights to publish it, and then 5 years after it was canceled, you got everything, and you could do whatever you want. They made sure that the artists got their art back. While Eclipse was publishing your comic, if a movie was made of Scout, say, Eclipse and Tim Truman, the creator of Scout, would get the money. It was just like a company that people like to work for. And the only reason it ended was I think they would do it good, probably not super profitable, but they had a flood and it just destroyed everything. And I think that was the end of them. They never recovered from that. Ann Nichols, I recognize that name. Is Ann Nichols? Did she become a pro? But I love checking out the names in the letters pages. Crazy. All right. Using mankind's strongest defenders as their executioners. Who better for the X-Sentinels' first victims than the real X-Men? So now you can see, if you ask me, this page is rushed. Ooh, God. So maybe Dave spent a lot of time on all the other pages and was running out of time. But look at that. This is really rushed. Holy moly. What a difference. Dr. Lang. I think we've had enough. So now the X-Men are blasting out. He's blasting them all. He's fracking them all. Look at this. He's running. Just look at these. If you ask me, this is just not as good. Do you hear me? Homo superior. A man is. I'm better than any of you. I'm better than you all. Yeah. So now we're getting crazed mutant scum. Like I said, it's fine. Just like Days of Future Past, it was fine. But then we constantly revisit Days of Apocalypse. Fine, but now we're constantly revisit. It's like me with my criticism. You don't like Brand X. That's fine. Talk about it. But dwelling on it, it's constantly revisiting. I had my drama, but I got it out of my system. I talked about it. Everybody knows there's no need to keep rehashing it. Same with mutants. Mutants. You get tired of it after a while. Which is why I liked it. They would have a mutant story, then they'll go off into space, then have a mutant story, fight some demons, mutant story, a little, playing baseball kind of issue, and then, they broke it up. It wasn't constantly like identity politics, which is what ruined the X-Men after a while. This is kind of cool. You got the Cyclops robot blowing up over here. I love these contraptions. Look at this. If this guy really wanted to improve the lot of humanity, take all these robots and these flying gizmos and the ability to read minds and generate ice, you know what I mean? Improve the regular humans so that, like, the humans, like Syndrome, everybody has like personal devices and gadgets. Like, you don't have to be afraid of the mutants anymore, but instead I'm just going to build killer robots, but then we wouldn't have fun comics. So we got what I used to call the John Byrne effect over here, but it's really the Neil Adams effect. She's using her powers. And for your information, Dr. Lang, you won't be killing anybody today. My controls, they're moving by themselves. So all the X-Men robots are being destroyed. We got Cyclops again, it looks like. Havoc over here. Look at that face. No, the controls are jammed. I can't turn. Help me, somebody. X-Men, help me. I'm heading right for the screen. I'm going to. That's such like a trope. Big tough guy until until the threat come F around and find out, right? So we got Genuine Comics. I know it's all comics, not to be taken seriously, but it bugged me when a character turned out to be a robot. Oh, yes. I already adjusted. I hate it too. Oh, you hate my face? I hate your face. I ordered from that ad. Yes, Eclipse. They had adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters. They had so much from Eclipse Comics. Gru the Wanderer, although Gru started at Pacific, but they had Gru the Wanderer. Why can't I? Scout, Apache. So much. My mind is going blank right now. But Eclipse was a comic company that was super important. It's one of those comic companies that I'm like, if this is an Eclipse comic, and I don't have it already, I'm picking it up. Comico, I think I'm almost done getting everything ever published by Comico. Eclipse first. Yeah, Comico, Eclipse, and first. I pretty much get anything by those three companies, and I'm thinking there's one more, but I'm not sure. Did have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for a moment. Yes, Eclipse had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That I'm not sure. I'll take your word for it. I was never a fan until just recently of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I had an irrational hatred of them. Okay, free $1 million in cash. Like, I always just think, what if there really was just some guy, some like Mr. Beast type guy that was just giving away, and nobody took it because nobody took this ad seriously. So I'd like to, go drive to the Fun House in Newark, New Jersey, and there's just like pallets of cash that are just unclaimed. Airboy, yes, she gave Chuck Dixon her first break. Airboy, yes, Airboy, Miracle Man, Laser Erasure. Yeah, you bringing back memories of Eclipse Comics. Oh, I was asking if I don't think Eclipse ever had them. I don't think so, but I'm pretty sure they didn't. So we got Explosions. These panels do look a little rushed, but they're not as bad as that last page. I guess it's like people are going to remember the ending, but these aren't as good as the beginning, but they're not as bad as the couple pages beforehand. So now the fires almost reached the hypergolic. I'm not even making a joke. That's what it says. The hypergolic fuel cells, Dr. Corbeau. We haven't much time. Wrong, Cyclops. We have all the time in the world because we're sure not going anywhere, or at least not in this crate. The flight control's computer must have gotten slagged during our little fracas with the Sentinels. And without it, we're as good as finished. What about manual reentry? What about it, Wolverine? In case you haven't noticed, we've got a thumping great hole in the shuttle's hull, and thanks again to the Sentinels, no functional pressure suits. Well, that's the least of our problems. The solar flare. You got it, Nightcrawler. The worst flare in years. The computer was supposed to fly us through it while we sat safe and sound behind the shuttle's shielded life cell. Only we have no computer. So I just love this. It's just bad news upon bad news. We got no fuel. And even if we did have fuel, we got no propulsion units. And that doesn't matter because we got no shielding. And we got a hole in the ship. And there's a solar flare coming. And Godzilla's on its way. And Christmas is coming, and we're on the naughty list. And we got hepatitis. And it's dinner time and we're having liver. It's just piling on all the bad news. It's kind of fun. Wrong, Dr. Corbeau. I could do both. Since when are you a qualified astronaut? Since now. This will only hurt a little. I'm a telepath, remember? I can absorb. Dr. Corbeau knows about flying the space shuttle. I won't be a great pilot, but I'll be good enough. And how will you survive the solar flare? You little. My telekinetic powers will screen out the harmful radiation. I'll be all right. For how long? Even at your point, shut up. She's just like, shut up. Perhaps not, but I could do this. Take him to the life cell, Banshee. You hit him pretty hard, lassie. I meant to. By the time he wakes up, we'll be committed. So Jean Grey, parent, we just said bad news, bad news, bad news, bad news. I'm the hero. I'm going to deal with this. Cool. Miracle Man is the only Alan Moore story. I loved that Miracle Man story. I loved it. I like Alan Moore a lot. I know these days it's fashionable to bash on Alan Moore, but I really like his stories. I love his Swamp Thing. I like The Watchmen. I don't like the Killing Joke. The Killing Joke was just a little too depressing for me. But I still like Alan Moore. My favorite Alan Moore is probably Tom Strong. Tom Strong is so good. I recommend that. I'm getting messages. No Fantastic Four spoilers, but they did Galactus properly. I'm hearing actually that people saying it wasn't bad. I was prepared for the worst. I still don't like any of the 4 actors, but I'll go see it next week. Stan Lee's soapbox, the Bolton Bulletins. These are all the items, Marvel stuff, Marvel infamy. So we got Captain America. Not only is he patriotic, he's intrinsically good. He knows right from wrong. He also knows that Twinkies are the best. Twinkies, there's no contest. Hostess cupcakes are second, and then anything else is third, and then absolute last with no chance of redemption, 9th pit of hell, is fruit pies. You have to be a fan of monster comics to like fruit pies. I'm hoping Brian Bauer is listening. Yes, Brian Bauer, I'm calling you out. I don't like how Alan Moore deconstructs everything, but Miracle Man, I'll accept it. Yes, Miracle Man was the ultimate deconstruction story. Absolutely. And it was, oh God. My mustache growing in is just driving me crazy. But anyway, yes, it's the ultimate deconstruction story, but I enjoyed it. I really, really like it. Have I ever tried a deep fried Twinkie? No, it sounds absolutely disgusting. It sounds absolutely atrocious, and I want one. It sounds delicious. Only fascists dislike Twinkies. I agree. That's why the Red Skull is a Nazi. I love fruit pies, all the flavors, especially lemon. That comment goes uncommented. Nice shot, lady, but you're bucking for Martyr of the Year or something? Make it quick, Wolverine. I'm busy. What are you trying to prove? You're good and noble? A Big Daddy X? It's suicide, Genie. My name is Gene, mister, and I've just about had it with you. I've tried to like you, Wolverine, obnoxious little upstart that you are, but I don't for the life of me. I don't know why I made the effort. So shut your mouth and get in the cell now before I lose my temper. And Wolverine's just like, whoa. That's when Wolverine fell in love. Right here. He's just like, I got the most confused boner I've ever had in my life. Right now, not you, Aurora. I couldn't bear it. Look, I have the best chance of survival. It's pure and simple. It's me or it's none of us. Then may God protect you, Gene. Thank you, Aurora. My last favor, my friend. Could you tell Scott? Tell him that I loved him. Just pulling at the heartstrings. Setting up a page just to remind us of mistakes, let us know that she's being a hero. She's ready to sacrifice herself. She's using telekinesis to make a shield. Now, I'm curious. Could storm affect the solar flare? It is weather. Now, is she limited to Earth weather? But she did use weather on other planets. I don't know. That's something to think about. Like, could she affect solar weather? And here we go. So now they're taking the shuttle out. They're flying. Here comes the solar flare. No, let me go. Kurt, please. Not too long at all. And the rest of my life, Corbo wasn't kidding about the flare. It's barely here, and it's already pushing my powers to the limit. The only consolation is that even Colossus wouldn't have lasted this long. So long, Gene. So hold on, Gene, for the love of all you hold on. 20 minutes to go. The strain, I can't take it. Oh no, the strain's starting to give away. Tack, 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 tack. The flare, the radiation, it's starting to get through. Tack, 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 to be concluded. Dun, dun, dun. And then we got Bullet Man, the human bullet, blasts into the G.I. Joe Super Adventure Team. So this is that weird point where, G.I. Joe was a military-based toy franchise. Military, for some reason, after the Vietnam War, started to get... come on, focus. Some reason, after the Vietnam War, military IPs started to get less popular. Superheroes started to get popular again. So G.I. Joe had this like quasi-military, quasi-superhero period. This guy's a cyborg arm. This guy's Bullet Man. And then we have G.I. Joe, who's a pure strain human. How's that for Gamma World references? It was weird. I do like human, like military superhero hybrid stories. Like I really liked Team 7 from Image Comics, especially like when Chuck Dixon took it over. Like I liked humans and then superheroes interacting on the same military team, like Suicide Squad. I got a kick out of. I enjoy that. So there we go. I like the tack at the end. It implies that Jean Grey is somehow being mutated by the cosmic rays, the solar flare. So good. This is just comics done so well. I'm so mad that I skipped 99. I'm so mad. So we're going to have to wait 2 weeks for the conclusion to this because I have to go back and do 99. That's a great question. I assume you talk about can storm affect the solar weather? I don't think it's weather unless affected by atmosphere. So she wouldn't be able to affect the sun directly or use her powers in space. Good point. Good point, Dave. But like solar flare is atmosphere. Like, you know what I mean? Like if a wind blew from Earth, could she redirect the wind? I don't know. That's interesting. I wonder what her power really is. Could she only manipulate water in all its form? And is that how she alters the weather? Good question. These are the kind of questions because ultimately weather is well, it's temperature too. It's water and temperature. So is she just a different version of Iceman? Because Iceman affects temperature and water, right? That's really interesting because weather is, well, air pressure. Yeah, so storm is more than water because it's air pressure, which has nothing to do with water and temperature. So yeah, so weather. Yeah, okay. I love this kind of stuff. You're making me think about things. G.I. Joe Action Force in the UK, where Cobra Commander got his best origin. I just put it in order for G.I. Joe number 3. I'm reading G.I. Joe's. They say she can manipulate atmospheres, so if planet's on fire, she'll be able to manipulate it. Okay, so water and air manipulation and temperature. All right, Heroic Tales comic book. Yes, it's on Kickstarter now. I got to start promoting the Kickstarter. I did pretty good on Kickstarter. I got like $1,000 on it. That's good for a guy like me. And if I could do that, that would hit. That I need to make like 6,000 an issue. That's my personal goal. Anything above 6,000 is super success. It sounds like magnetic field manipulation of planetoids. Yeah, well, the sun's got a magnetic field. But these are great questions. Okay, is an earthquake considered weather? Good question. I don't think so, because weather is atmosphere based. Earthquake is plate tectonics moving around. So gut reaction is no. Earthquakes are not weather. They're like, it's plate tectonics moving, and that's based. I don't think it's weather. So my gut reaction is no. So there you go. I'm done with the comic. I'm so mad that I skipped an issue. I'm going to put it back into the bag. The sleeve over here. And I'll put this over here. And again, I will continue talking as long as the comments go. Zeus and Hades and and Neptune, Poseidon. Remember, Greek mythology, people always forget this. Zeus controls the sky, Hades controls the underworld, and Poseidon controls the seas, and all three of them control the earth. That's why Poseidon is considered the god of earthquakes. That always bothered me as a kid. But they share the earth. Zeus is the sky, Poseidon the sea, Neptune's the underworld. But they all three of them share the earth. It's like a little technicality. I was late due to hearing Howler Mouse's review of Fantastic Four. He really emphasized how contrived it was. I didn't see it yet. Comment. I plan on seeing it. You know, I'll just check it because I got a bunch of bips while I was okay. It was that Kickstarter is active. Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm not missing an important message. Okay, so anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to say? I missed this Clobber Time Friday. I was at a football combine for work. Who won and what's next week's match? Vader won. I was going into the fight thinking Voldemort because I'm like, Vader can't kill Voldemort. How does Vader have any previous knowledge of Horcruxes? You have to destroy the Horcruxes to get Vader. So that's where my mind was at. But then I realized you don't have to kill Voldemort to defeat him. Like Sauron, you just got to destroy the body and he's out of it. Take him a couple decades to come back. The question is, can a lightsaber kill Horcruxes? And then I was like, yeah, lightsaber can't kill Horcruxes because in order to kill a Horcrux, it has to be specific. But then I'm thinking it could still rip apart Voldemort's body. Voldemort's body could still be ripped apart by a lightsaber. So I tweeted at J.K. Rowling, and she didn't answer. I'm going to do it again. See what she says. Can a lightsaber destroy a Horcrux? Next Friday, it's Metamorpho versus the Absorbing Man. It should have been double-sized and $10, though. What? This comic? What should be double-sized and $10? Vader is such a powerhouse. The movies do not do him any justice. Yeah, but I'm only going by the movies. I don't know. I know somebody said the books he pulled down Star Destroyer stuff. I didn't see it. And then what books count? Which books don't count? You know what I mean? So just the movies. Just the movies. So there you go. I'm just trying to look. So have you read the comics? Star Wars comics? The Marvel comics, I read, I think, up to 25. And then I stopped. And I gave them all away. I hated them because they didn't follow the movies. Oh my God, I hated. So I gave them away. Now I'm rebuying them and I'm rereading. I'm enjoying them now. I'm enjoying them now. The old Marvel ones. So, and no, I'm not reading any Dark Horse, IDW, Star Wars comics. Star Wars is dead, gone, buried, to be forgotten about. Star Wars is over. Star Wars is over. It's go the way of Tarzan, Popeye, The Shadow, Doc Savage. It's over. Time to move on. Disney killed it. People have to realize this is the new Fantastic Four's first movie. Well, I don't know what you mean by that. Like, I think you would have enjoyed the Vader comics. Probably. I'm just not interested in Star Wars anymore. I said it before. When the first Star Wars movie came out, it was lightning in a bottle. I knew nothing about it. I just sat. I accepted it all. I didn't analyze. I mean, I was in third grade, and I just watched it and loved every Star Wars movie that came out since. Every Star Wars diminished Star Wars in some way. It I think 3 movies would have been enough, and it would still be revered. Every Star Wars, even Empire Strikes Back, started to show the cracks. Jedi really showed the cracks, and the prequels just amplified it, and then forget about it. Every Star Wars, everything since the first movie, to me, took away from Star Wars rather than adding to it. Made Vader series not long ago when Vader was hunting down the remaining Jedi in the galaxy. He was brutal. The best version of Vader. Star Wars ended with the Return of the Jedi. Yep. JP, you're absolutely 100%, zillion percent, quadruple, double secret probation correct. I respect that, but if you ever get into Star Wars, it's just reading the Star Wars from Marvel. I didn't know they were Marvel. I thought it was Dark Horse. But that's how I feel about Star Wars. My wife just sent me a message. Just want to make sure everything's okay. What did she say? Oh, okay. Okay, she sent me the she makes the thumbnails for It's Clobbering Time, so she just sent me Absorbing Man versus Metamorpho. Cool, looks perfect, honey. If you're watching it, I love it. So there you go. I don't know what else to talk about. At this point, I usually share what I'm doing for the week. Let's see, do I have anything scheduled? I've been getting real lax. So Thursday we got R.J. Williams. Wednesday, R.J. Williams at 7:00, 8:30. I'll be over at it's R.J. Day. Wednesday is R.J. Day here. So R.J. Williams will be here at 7. R.J., if you're in the chat, confirm this isn't a mistake because you were just on. And then 8:30, I'll be on R.J. for the Fourth Age to do It's Clobbering Time. Thursday, I have nothing. Friday, I have nothing at 7. And then at 8:30, it's Clobbering Time, Metamorpho versus the Absorbing Man. And then Sunday Comics, I will be doing issue 99 because I'm crazy. So I have a bunch of openings if anybody wants to come and talk. Okay. Did you see that? No, I'm going to see it next week. I mean, if you are an FFN, you won't like any story. I love the Fantastic Four. They're my favorite comic. So I'm trepidatious. Is that the correct word? Did you back Fiendish 3? Yes, of course I did. I love Fiendish. It's one of the best indie comics. I will say this. Dime Store Detective, John Dexter is the best writer in indie comics. He transcends comics. Like I can't believe I'm going to say this, but this should be a movie. You know what I mean? It's that good. Why is it that good? Because normies could read this and accept the supernatural. Like it's not comic book writing. It's like crime noir, backstories, characterization, like all the stuff that we do. But like this could be sold as like a True Detective, and everybody loved True Detective. So I know he's anxious to see what I thought of it. So, but yeah, so I'm gonna say like Dime Store Detective, Fiendish. These are some of my favorite crowdfunded books. You know, anything by Genuine Verse, Dave Brink, so good. I can't recommend. They make comics exciting for me again. So I got nothing else to say. It's 11:31. I've been talking for an hour and a half. I think I'll close it down now. I'm gonna go on Twitter and promote the Heroic Tales is live on Kickstarter. When Luke has to set up the in demand on for my comic, I'll give him a little poke to see if he can do it. What is Detective about? It's a bunch of bootleggers in the 50s do something. I'm not going to give away spoilers. Something bad happens in the 50s, and now, boom, 40 years later, they're dealing with the consequences of what happened in the 50s. So it's set now, and then they flash back to the past. When I heard that, I was like, oh no, but he does it really well. They're supernatural. So it's bootleggers in the past, cops in the future. It's really good. All right. See you all. Have a good day. Thanks for being here. It's a crime noir kind of story. Absolutely. It's a crime noir kind of story. Yes. Supernatural crime noir. Yeah. You can see it involves this demonic figure. So there you go. Like it's like a, hate to say it, Lovecraftian in the proper sense of the word, whereas it's creepy, eerie, and we don't really know what's going on. Not just tentacles jumping out and eating your face. That's people who don't understand Lovecraft say stuff like that. All right. Good night, everybody, or good day, everybody. Bye bye.